There is a version of you that the world never gets to see. The version that exists before the noise arrives. Before the demands, the notifications, the expectations, the performance. The version that wakes up and immediately hands control to everything outside itself. Most people live their entire lives never meeting that version. Never claiming it. Never building anything from it. And it shows. Not in dramatic ways, in subtle ones. In the way they react instead of respond. In the way they need the room's approval before they feel settled. In the way difficulty undoes them faster than it should. The Stoics identified 10 specific disciplines, practiced before sunrise, before the world got its hands on you, that produce a kind of person most people can feel but cannot explain. Stay until the end. Because the 10th discipline is the one most people will dismiss as too simple. It is the one that holds all the others together, and without it, every other practice eventually collapses. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man on earth. He commanded legions. He governed 60 million people. He faced plague, military betrayal, and the deaths of his own children. And every morning, before a single advisor reached him, before a single report landed on his desk, he sat alone and wrote. Not about strategy, not about power, about who he intended to be that day. He wrote, "On waking, ask yourself, does it make any difference to you whether others do their duty or not? It is no concern of yours." Before the empire touched him, he drew the boundary. He oriented himself. He decided, in the silence before the noise, what was his and what was not. Epictetus did the same from the opposite end of Roman society. A slave, physically crippled, owning nothing. And yet he produced a philosophy of inner sovereignty so precise that emperors studied it. He taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Not who you wish you were, not who you used to be, who you are choosing to be today in this body with these circumstances, given everything you know. Seneca, writing letters to his friend Lucilius across decades, described his morning practice with a single word that stopped me cold when I first read it. He said he read each morning to arm himself, not to entertain, not to inform, to arm, because he understood that the morning is not neutral territory. It is a battleground, and the person who does not arm themselves in the quiet hours will be disarmed by the loud ones. The Stoics were not building morning routines. They were building a self, deliberately, daily, before the world arrived to tell them who to be. Here is what happens to the person who skips this work. They wake reactive. Phone first, news first, other people's emergencies first. And in the first 60 seconds of consciousness, they have already surrendered the one window in the entire day when their mind was genuinely their own. This is not accidental. It is engineered. The attention economy, every platform, every notification system, every algorithmically optimized feed, is built on a single insight. Capture a person before they have formed their own thoughts for the day, and you can fill that space with yours. This is cognitive colonization. And it happens every morning to billions of people who have never noticed it occurring. But there is a more interpersonal dimension that the Stoics would recognize immediately. The person who has no morning practice, no internal orientation, no values check, no defined limits for the day ahead, walks into every interaction as an open system. Whatever the environment demands, they supply. Whatever the room's mood is, they absorb it. Whatever the most dominant personality in the space projects, they reflect. This is what makes them so easy to manipulate. Narcissistic personalities and covertly controlling people do not need elaborate schemes. They simply need you to arrive unformed. They need you reactive, undefined, and hungry for external cues about who to be. That hunger is the leverage. Seneca described it with chilling precision. Show me a man who is not a slave. He was not talking about legal status. He was talking about the person whose inner state is entirely determined by outer circumstances, whose mood follows the market, whose confidence follows the room, whose sense of self follows whoever is currently paying attention to them. The disciplines we are about to discuss are not productivity hacks. They are a defense architecture, built in the morning, held through the day, invisible to everyone except the people who try to destabilize you and find, to their confusion, that there is nothing to grip. 10 disciplines. One morning. Here is the architecture. 1. Wake with intention, not urgency. Before the phone, before speech, before movement. 60 seconds at the edge of your bed. One question. What do I want today to mean? Not what must I accomplish. What do I want it to mean? That question is the difference between a day you authored and a day that happened to you. 2. Move your body before you meet the world. Not punishment, not performance. 10 minutes of deliberate physical movement that sends one message to your nervous system. I have not abandoned this body. I am still here. People feel this in you before you speak a word. They cannot explain it. It is the signal of someone who is present inside their own physical existence. 3. Feed your mind before you feed your fears. Seneca read one idea each morning. Not a chapter, one idea. Held slowly. Turned over. The goal is not to consume more. It is to think more deeply than the world wants you to. One paragraph from something serious. Before the scroll. Before the news. Before any other voice enters the space. 4. Practice voluntary discomfort. 60 seconds of cold water. Skip one comfort you don't need. Sit in silence when every part of you reaches for distraction. The purpose is singular, to know, with certainty from evidence, that you are not owned by comfort. That knowledge, carried quietly, changes your entire gravitational field. 5. Write one honest thought. Not a gratitude list. Not a record of yesterday. One question on paper. Where did I act from fear instead of values? 3 sentences. The discipline is not the length. The discipline is the honesty. The person who can look at themselves clearly without flinching is extraordinarily difficult to manipulate. The world is full of people who are afraid of their own thoughts. The one who is not stands apart immediately. 6. Define what you will not do today. Before the day begins, set one limit in advance. I will not respond to provocation with reactivity. I will not give my best energy to something that hasn't earned it. I will not let someone else's urgency become my emergency. This is not passivity. This is authorship. The person who has defined their limits before the pressure arrives cannot be caught off guard by the pressure. 7. Contemplate the worst, then release it. Marcus Aurelius rehearsed difficulty every morning. He wrote, "Begin by saying to yourself, I shall meet the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful." Not to dwell in dread. To strip those things of their ambush power. Spend 2 minutes asking, what could go wrong today and who will I be when it does? Then release it. You are not preventing what might come. You are training the self that will face it. 8. Speak to yourself as you would speak to someone you respect. The internal voice most people carry is one they would never use on a friend. Epictetus called this voice an instruction, not an observation. What you tell yourself in the morning is a command your body and will spend the rest of the day executing. Choose the command deliberately. 9. Sit in silence long enough to hear yourself think. 5 minutes. No phone, no sound, no input. Let the sediment settle. What arrives after the restlessness passes is the rarest commodity in modern life. Contact with your own actual mind. The person who knows their own mind is recognizable in any room. They speak less, but when they speak, something shifts, because what they say is genuinely theirs. 10. Do one thing that belongs entirely to you. Before the day becomes about everyone else. One act that exists purely because you value it. Reading something unrelated to work. Watching light change through a window. Walking a familiar street with full attention. Seneca called it vindicati tibi, reclaim yourself for yourself. This is not indulgence. This is the maintenance of the self that makes everything else pee. Possible here is what you came for. You do not need all 10 tomorrow. The Stoics would tell you that explicitly. Marcus Aurelius returned to the same practices year after year, failing and correcting, beginning again without drama, never arriving, always returning. Pick one. The one that feels most foreign to how you currently begin your mornings. That distance is information. It tells you exactly where the work is. But understand what this work is actually building. It is not a morning routine. It is a person. A specific kind of person. The kind others cannot easily explain but immediately recognize. The kind who walks into a room and doesn't need it to give them anything. Who absorbs bad news without collapsing. Who can sit in silence without filling it. Who disagrees without cruelty and holds ground without aggression. Who makes you feel, simply by their presence, that you are near something that cannot be moved. That is not charisma. That is not confidence in the way the word is usually used. That is the gravitational pull of someone who has done the interior work, consistently, quietly, before anyone was watching, for long enough that it has become structural. Not a mood, not a performance, a foundation. You already know that the things most worth having are never built quickly. You know that the people who left the deepest mark on your life were not impressive because of what they had. They were impressive because of what they had built inside themselves over years of patient, unglamorous work. That work is still available to you. Tomorrow morning, before the phone, before the noise, before the world arrives to tell you who to be. There is a question the Stoics considered the only one worth asking at the end of any day. Who have I been becoming? Not what did I accomplish, not what did I accumulate. Who have I been becoming? That question points in a direction. It acknowledges that you are not finished, that the person you are today is not the final version, that the building continues in the 60 seconds before you reach for your phone, in the 5 minutes of silence before the noise begins, in the one honest sentence written when no one is watching. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire and still returned every morning to the same fundamental work. Not because he hadn't figured it out, because he understood that the work of becoming is never completed. The day you stop is the day you begin to drift. Tomorrow morning you have the same choice you have always had. You can let the day happen to you, or you can happen to the day. The Stoics knew which one was worth choosing. The only question is whether you do.